Coming up on this edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter, Master Firefighter Justin Moss explains how to properly calibrate the Q-Ray 2 gas meter. Captain Dennis Crisp from Company 13B talks with us about the importance of water hazards that many of us don't think about. Dr. Charles Parker talks about the difference between holiday and seasonal depression. Master Firefighter Mike Callagher brings us another Tech Rescue Minute. This month, Master Firefighter Jeff Rosenfeld brings us another Rags to Wrenches. Battalion Chief James Ramsey and the crew from Company 3B outline some basic information about Meth Labs. And finally, we bring you a collection of outtakes from this year. I'm Master Firefighter Tom Parks. Here's the host of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter, Chris Stockhouse.
Thanks, Tom. Happy holidays and welcome, everyone. Our first training segment today deals with vehicle stabilization with Master Firefighter Mike Callagher. Mike, take it away.
That's right, Chris. Today I'm going to talk about using step chocks in a vehicle accident. Okay, what we have is the step chocks. All the engines and the ladders and the squad companies have these step chocks, okay? Here's the step fashion it is, and then over here we have it in a wedge fashion. All it is flipped over. What we're going to do is we're going to use this when we have a vehicle that's in an accident and we need to stabilize it, whether it's we need to get in there and take the doors off or the roof, or maybe it's just somebody has a back injury and we need to stabilize the vehicle. We try to use these things as much as we can. That's why we put them on the engine so we can use them for any vehicles. They're very simple to use. A lot of times people will just come up to the vehicle and go, hey, where am I going to put the thing? What you want to do is you want to put it behind the front wheels and ahead of the rear wheels, okay? So you're going to use 4 of them, all right? So we take this one in here and we slide it into the vehicle. You see it hits the running boards, maybe not the best choice. What we could do is maybe have somebody lift up the vehicle and just slide it under a little more, or we could let some air out of the tires and let the vehicle settle on down. The other option would be is to take it into the wedge configuration, and you can get it under there a lot better. And you can just slightly give it a little bit of a kick and it'll go under the vehicle a little bit better. That seems to be what a lot of guys are liking nowadays. They seem like they can get the wedge under there more, and they choose to like that one a lot better. What you want to watch out for is this one. You can see here went under the running board, and that's the only thing we grabbed, okay? It's the only thing it's sitting on is the running board. However, if you look under this vehicle, a lot of the pressure is right here. We don't need to support the whole weight of the vehicle because it's resting on the ground. All we're trying to do is keep this vehicle from tipping back and forth. So that might be okay. However, if it's kind of flimsy and it's kind of moving around a little bit, you might have to come under here and catch a frame member or something made of metal, something like that. The other thing you want to look out for is maybe I have to take this door off in an extrication. Do I need this thing right over here in my way? Maybe I need to get somebody in here to work on the patient. So maybe I need to move it in a little bit on this side or a little bit more on the other side. Depends on which way you're going to take the door off. And the same with the back. You want to do the same thing in the back. You want to make sure it's out of your way, but yet it's secure. The other thing you want to do is you want to walk around and you want to make sure that these things are tight. Okay, they're going to loosen up. You start moving the vehicle around a lot, it's going to start loosening these things up. So go around, give them a little tap with your foot, making sure they're tight. Okay, now what we have here is we have a vehicle that has a little bit of a suspension lift on it, okay? It's a little bit higher. Your SUVs, your pickup trucks, even some of your big 4x4s tend to be up off the ground a little bit. But you don't have to stop there. You can go ahead and I'll show you something what we do with these step chocks. You can take one, tip it on its side, and this is where you're going to catch the frame because you can see it so good. And then you take the other one, you flip it over into the wedge, and you slide it on top of the other one. And you take it right up there to the frame. And you can see that I've caught the frame. So that's actually giving me some elevation, okay? So now I can wedge it in. That's all it is. With this edition of Tech Rescue Minute, I'm Master Firefighter Mike Callagher. If you have any questions, please give me a call.
Thank you, Mike. Next up, it's Master Firefighter Jeff Rosenfeld with Rags to Wrenches. Today, Jeff's going to talk to us about the importance of equipment checkoff. Jeff?
Thanks, Chris. Today we're going to talk about gas-powered equipment that we use on our fans, brush trucks, floating pumps, and in our extrication equipment. With the resurgence of using gas-powered blowers for ventilation, we'll go over a few simple tips to help everybody out on the fire ground. When checking off the blower in the morning, we're recommending that we set the throttle on fast, the choke all the way in the choke position, and the gas valve for the gas tank to the carburetor should be in the off position. The reason we're doing that is as the truck's going down the road, normally during calls and driving around, the fan's shaking in the compartment. With the valve turned off, that keeps the gas from dumping all in the carburetor, filling the carburetor up, and then filling the engine up with gasoline. Once we get to the fire ground, all we need to do is turn the gas on, ensure that the power switch is on, and pull the handle. Once the motor gets running, let it run for a little bit, let it get warmed up, and then throttle back the choke valve so the choke's fully open, leaving the throttle on full speed. When the fire's over and you're ready to shut down the fan, what we recommend is coming over, slowing the engine speed down to slow. As it idles down, then shut the ignition switch off. Once the motor has stopped running and you're ready to put it back on the truck, again, check the truck off again like in the morning. Have the ignition switch on, the throttle in full speed, the choke in the choke position, and the gasoline turned off. That way it's ready to travel down the road. On some brush trucks that still have the Briggs and Stratton engines, the gas tank is located above the carburetor, the fuel line comes around, and then you can see the red valve in the gas line before it enters the carburetor. That add-on valve is doing the same thing that we showed on the Hondas. It's just preventing the gas from filling up that carburetor and filling up the engine as it vibrates down the road. Once the truck gets to the scene and you're ready to go into action, somebody will have to get up here and actually turn that gas valve on. And then go ahead and start to pump and go to your brush truck operations. Once all the operations are completed, you're ready to go back to the station. Once you shut the engine off, somebody will jump back up here and shut that valve off before driving back to the station. I'd like to thank the video shop for tracking us down here at Company 17, filling in for in-service. If you have any more ideas for Rags to Wrenches segment, please give me a call at Company 21A Shift or give me an email. Be happy to entertain the idea. Thanks, Howie. Now back to you.
Our next segment is for you truckies. Master Firefighter Justin Moss is here with a quick review of the Q-Ray 2 gas meter.
Turn on your Q-Ray 2 by holding down the mode button and allow it to go through its 15-second self-check. After the self-check, the meter will prompt you to complete a fresh air calibration. Select Yes by pressing the mode key. Performing a fresh air calibration before each use will ensure accurate readings by your meter. After fresh air calibration, the meter will blink zeroed, indicating successful completion. To complete a fresh air calibration after the monitor is in normal operation mode, you will have to hold the mode and the Y key at the same time to enter the meter's menu. The meter will require you to enter a password at this time. Enter the password 0000 by pressing the mode key until OK is highlighted on the screen, and press the Y key to confirm your selection. Once in the menu, you will want to select the Calibrate Monitor menu. After entering the calibration menu, you will select Fresh Air Calibration. The meter will begin a 30-second countdown. After completion, you will need to exit the meter's menu by pressing the Mode button to scroll down to the Back option. Once you exit both menus, you will be back in the normal operation mode. Monthly calibration of the Q-Ray 2 is completed by Squad 3 and Squad 10 with the Auto Ray Light.
Hello, I'm Dennis Crisp of Captain Company 13. I want to share a safety message, something you all don't think about very often, but is very important. It is not often structures collapse, and that is why they are so dangerous. What causes structures to collapse are many things: earthquakes, tornadoes, fire damage, poor construction, overloaded buildings, and water weight, to name a few. Think about this.
Water. Don't take it for granted. We all know about water. As firefighters, we use it to put out fires. But water can be dangerous. We all are aware of the dangers that lead to drowning. But what about being crushed? We know that a gallon of water weighs 8.34 pounds. And did you ever think about what that weight could do? 1 cubic foot of water weighs 62.4 pounds. A mass stream flowing 1,000 gallons a minute adds 8,340 pounds per minute. And flowing for 10 minutes adds 83,400 pounds to the load of the building. 1 inch of water exerts 5.2 pounds of force per square foot. That doesn't sound like much, but take a small building with a flat roof, say 50 by 100. That would cover an area of 5,000 square feet. If the drains are clogged with debris, water will collect. When water across that roof gets 1 inch deep, it will weigh 26,000 pounds. Now, if the water depth increases to 2 inches, the weight will increase to 52,000 pounds. The firefighters would be in grave danger working below. Also, note this extreme loading takes place in buildings where the live loads are capable of absorbing a large amount of water. A little over 10 years ago, I was in an apartment fire where some of the ceiling came down on my head. That ceiling had water-saturated insulation on it, making the sheetrock even heavier. I did not think I was injured, but 10 months later, I had neck surgery. The doc fused 2 of my vertebrae together. I almost lost my job due to this injury, but thankfully, I was able to return to work. As firefighters, we know things can change in a moment's notice.
So be aware of your surroundings and be careful out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. You know, the holiday season can sometimes bring a little stress to our lives. In our next segment, Master Firefighter Bill Murray is in the studio with Dr. Charles Parker, who will explain the difference between holiday and seasonal depression. Bill?
Thanks, Chris. In the studio this morning, we have Dr. Charles Parker. He'll be in the studio this morning talking about seasonal depression and holiday depression with us. He has a new book out entitled New ADHD Medication Rules. It's online right now and will be in bookstores in January. Dr. Parker, hey, good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it.
Talk to us a little bit about seasonal depression and holiday depression and how it relates to the fire service.
Well, what we really do is try to separate them. I mean, that's a big question because we got 2 different issues and then the fire service. And really it relates to everybody, whether you're in the fire service or not. But seasonal depression is really a biologic problem. And it has to do with diurnal rhythms. That is the length of the day. If the day is shortened in the fall, a lot of people who have a specific D3, vitamin D3, which is the operational one of the 2 D vitamins, D2 and D3, and D3 is the biggie. If they're short on D3, they're going to get depressed, just biologically. It has nothing to do with psychological conflict or who you're hanging around or what you're doing. You're just going to feel terrible. African American population, higher incidence. Why? Color of the skin. Simple as that. I think every single African American that has any kind of depression should be evaluated for a vitamin D3 deficiency. And I'm with the people who were the thought leaders on that. So, now, holiday depression is a different thing. It can be related, of course, because a person can have a seasonal that can spin over and aggravate a holiday depression. Holiday depression is more a psychological issue. It has to do with expectations, the past, the present, being with family, could be good, could be bad. Being away from family could be good, could be bad. So what happens is a person really needs to think about that as a change in reality. What we human beings have done a really good job of is setting our lives up so there's not a lot of change.
Right.
You know, seasons change, we've got AC, we've got heat. The rest of the animals don't have that. So what happens is we do everything we can to set it up so we don't have to deal with change.
Right, right.
And so when the change comes up and the variables come up, there's a lot more thinking that goes on, and a person can get very stressed out about that. Now, firefighters in particular, because they have stressful jobs, yes, we know that. What happens with firefighters, even more so than the average population, is because, and this is going to sound a little sexist, but it's kind of a guy thing. Now, we have female firefighters, and the guy thing has to do with, I don't have a problem. I'm really okay.
Denial.
Yeah. A person can then stay away from conflict, and then it will eventually, if they don't deal with it, will come up and haunt them.
You bring up a good point with the seasonal depression, and it relates to the fire service. Is it's based on circadian rhythm.
Yep.
And we know that sleep deprivation in the fire service is prevalent. Sometimes sleep is a premium. So in the fire stations, what is some good signs and symptoms for company officers to look at their crew to get a good basis of maybe they have a person in the station that's suffering from depression, maybe seasonal depression or maybe regular depression, and what could they do to help intervene?
Well, you know, any work organization, you're really tight with the people. Even people in my office, we're not firefighters in our office, but we're tight. We know each other. And I joke with the folks in our office, sometimes it's like being married because you spend so much time with them, sometimes even more time in the office than you may spend, with your wife at home. So what happens is an individual can be very sensitive to what's going on with that other person. And what you look for is changes in their personality. One of the key changes with seasonal or holiday depression is withdrawal, getting back and staying away, being more like, and then basic grumpiness. I treated a guy who in the military was known as grumpy.
Right.
He had 4 grumpy hats and 6 grumpy t-shirts.
I think we've got a couple of those.
But if you get more grumpy, this would be a key sign to pay attention to, because what happens is guys are not going to go boo-hoo, but they can doggone well get grumpy.
Sure.
So those are some key signs: withdrawal, grumpiness, touchy, sensitive, and then outright anger. Swearing, cursing, flipping out when they ordinarily wouldn't be flipping out. Those are all key signs. The issue then is breaking through that denial and how you actually do that. It's a little bit of a challenge, because getting tight with the guy to actually confront him on it's a little more complicated.
Can you have seasonal depression during the summer months?
You sure can. In fact, it's an odd thing. No one's really sure why this happens, but there are more suicides that happen in March than there are in December and January. And there's a big shift that goes on there, and there's a lot of discussion about it, and there's no definitive findings to my knowledge about why that happens. But it can happen. We ask this question about seasonal depression with every single new person we see, every new patient. And there are a lot of people say, and if it's a woman, it could very easily be, I can't wear a bathing suit. I was doing fine as long as I had my coat on, but I don't. So it's different for different people. So it can be seasonal in that respect. But from the biologic perspective, that's the light and the darkness thing.
Wonderful. Dr. Parker, it was great having you in the studio. We look forward to seeing your new book. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Bill. Thanks
Have a
for
wonderful
having me,
day.
Mike.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much. In this last segment, we profiled 2 forms of depression that can affect both the citizens we serve and the firefighters we work with on a daily basis in the fire stations. And the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation in 2004 produced 16 life safety initiatives to promote the health and safety of firefighters. With the support of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, the International Association of Firefighters, the National Volunteer Fire Council, the Everyone Goes Home campaign was started. Life Safety Initiative 13 focuses on access to counseling and psychological support for firefighters and their families. Over the past 3 years, national media attention has turned to multiple firefighter suicides within a very short time frame in larger departments. The Phoenix Fire Department experienced 4 firefighter suicides within a 7-month period. The truth is, we really don't know the rates of firefighter suicides at a national level. There's not a way to statistically track firefighter suicides currently in America. Please take the time to look over the 16 firefighter life safety initiatives and the Everyone Goes Home campaign to make your job safer and the firefighters you work with. From everyone here at the Frontline Firefighter Studio, have a safe and happy holiday, be responsible for one another, and take care of one another. Back to you, Chris.
This next segment is an important review for any first responder. The manufacture of homemade crystal meth is ever increasing and creating a dangerous challenge to firefighters, EMS, and law enforcement personnel responding to emergency calls. Battalion Chief James Ramsey and Captain Joe Baraki review some important information about these meth labs. Chief?
Thank you, Chris. Today we're going to talk about meth labs, specifically the one-cook method or shake and bake method. We're seeing a rise of those in this area. We've had 6 in Virginia Beach over the last 6 months. We've had 36 in Hampton Roads region. The hazards that the firefighter or first responder will face when they come upon these labs are going to be toxic, they're going to be an inhalation hazard, and they're highly volatile. They're essentially a bottle bomb. The preferred method of transport is actually in a book bag. They can get everything they need at Walgreens. They'll mix it, they'll put it in the book bag, carry it, walk it down the street, and they've got meth. Typically, the amount of meth that they'll shake and bake, they're going to shake it in, the preferred container is a Gatorade bottle, is about the size of a sugar pack. They'll mix everything they need up to make meth in this particular bottle. And what it does, if they don't burp it correctly and timely, that it will do an exothermic energy release, bottle bomb if you will, and potentially blow up in their face. Typically they'll have burns from the chest up to the face area. So those are some things that as first responders, firefighters, we need to be aware of if you do come upon a burn victim with no other sources around. They'll cook this in vehicles. You'll come up on a vehicle fire and the cause and origin is going to be because of the meth lab. Usually motels is where we found them. We've also found them out at Seashore State Park. Pretty much anywhere and everywhere, be aware that these type of labs will exist. And really the big takeaway on firefighters, you do go into a house or a structure, vacate the structure, proper PPE as always, and call police. I'm here today with Captain Baraki, and he's going to show you some of these household chemicals. If you see them in a cluster, then to be aware that it's potentially a meth lab. And Captain Baraki, could you take it to show away?
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Now, the first thing you need to make meth is pseudoephedrine or Sudafed. There's some different examples here, but we've all bought this when we get sick. And when you go to buy it now, you can only buy a certain amount of pills, and you have to sign for it. All these chemicals you can buy right at a big box store, but the key to recognizing a meth lab is knowing that, hey, all these things are all together. There's a bunch of Sudafed pills, there's different solvents, there's some things like lithium batteries, things you would not see all together. So if you do recognize some of these chemicals inside of a structure, or like the Chief said, in a car during a vehicle fire, or maybe even outside in a backpack, you might recognize that it might be a possible meth lab. Now the thing about lithium is it's reactive to water. It's highly reactive to water. So just the humidity in the air has caused lithium to flash on DE agents and police officers, so it's very volatile. Some other things you might see during a meth lab production is some coffee filters, and you will see some bottles, like the Chief said, a Gatorade bottle, but you might see a tube coming out when they salt the chemical out. This is a telltale sign that you have a bottle, Gatorade bottle, a Pepsi bottle with a tube coming out to extract the final product out. Those funnels, coffee filters, different types of salts are all common things. And what brought it to my attention that, you think of a meth lab, we all think of the Mexican cartels that had these big, huge labs. Like the Chief said, you'll find these bags in a backpack, not more than, a little bit of trash and not even know what you're looking at. They smell like dirty, rotten gym socks sometimes. The smell of the burns on victims are pretty much the telltale signs that they're doing something illegal, making meth.
Thank you very much, Captain Baraki.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Some takeaways we want you to have out of this today is, one, it's a very volatile atmosphere. Hydrogen sulfide, it's a bottle bomb. It gets mixed up. A lot of these cooks are very aggressive individuals anyways. Matter of fact, 1 in 6 of these little labs catch up in a flash fire. Here are the clues you should look for in identifying a meth lab. Lithium batteries, red devil lye, starter fluid, brake cleaner, cold pack, Sudafed packages. If you see all of these together, it's your indicator to exit the area and call law enforcement. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact Captain Baraki at Company 3B. He'll be able to answer any questions, or contact myself at Fire Marshal's office. Chris, you got it.
Well, that's just about it for this edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. Before we leave you, we have a few outtakes from the past year. So until next time, I'm your host, Master Firefighter Chris Stockhow. Stay safe.
3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Firefighter Justin Moss with the Virginia Beach Fire Department Special Operations Hazmat at Company 3. Today we are going to... What happened? Was there something funny on
We'd like to hear from you. Our email address is vbftv@vb.
Mike Callahan. Mike, take it away.
You need to hold that a little longer when you're down there.
How did I do that?
Okay.
3, 2, 1. So how long you been in VBF? 3, 2, 1.
Just act like I'm not here.
Oh, there's food in front of him. He really doesn't know you're there.
That's actually his second point.
I'm gonna go into voiceover booth and go, if you watch carefully, you really see Mullins unhinge his jaw. The legendary chow hound.
Got it. Still rolling your count? Here we go.
3, 2, 1. On this edition of Tech Rescue Minute, I will be going over the tandem triple wrap Prusik fillet.
Slow down, man. You're going too fast.
Was that it? My gut's hanging out too much?
No.
Oh.
3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Captain Travis Wood. Anyone
Still
say
rolling.
Travis? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
If you have any questions or future ideas for Tech Rescue Minute, please feel free.
Still rolling?
Coming up on this edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. Are we there? All right, we're there now. That's okay. Take one. Coming up on this edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. Master Firefighter Jeff Rosenfeld shows us some unique features of the Yep.
Firefighter Justin Moss with Virginia Beach Fire Department Special Operations Hazmat at Company 3. Today we are going to review carbon monoxide incidents and the response to these calls. So stay tuned. Please don't do that. Let's practice it.